When we first started doTERRA, we did it for a number of reasons. One of those reasons, of course, was to embrace these gifts of the earth, these essential oils, and to integrate them into people's lives. And another reason, of course, is we wanted to bring together this wonderful world of humanity that we have and bring together these harvesters and these distillers and to be able to benefit people with these essential oils from all around the world. But maybe if I look at it and think about the most important thing that we had in mind is we really wanted to change the world. And we really wanted to make a difference. And we really wanted to, frankly, to make some great memories. And I think we have. I think there's been some wonderful things that have happened over the years in that regard. I'm troubled by the global trends of incivility and polarization that seem to be happening in our world. It's unprecedented, it seems, this breakdown that's been happening among people and just losing the ability to be civil with one another. There's been this increased dehumanization that's been happening and this almost disgust with those that don't share maybe our views. Some days, it feels like the only thing that we can agree on is that we can't agree on anything. Public discourse has broken down. We feel that everywhere panelists on TV are screaming at each other sometimes. We go online, we find community and connection, and we end up leaving feeling angry and alienated. Have any of you experienced this? I'm going to talk a little bit about echo chambers. We all live in our echo chambers, don't we? And social media can help to fuel this psychological polarization. We're bombarded with information that confirms our own views, that reinforces our biases, that makes us feel like we belong to something, maybe. And, I hope that all of you understand this and we all realize this, that social media is programmed to feed us more and more of whatever we show interest in. And then it continues to feed. And it's an ecosystem that just entrenches us further and further and further and to where we become very absolute in our views. We stop compromising. That becomes something of a dirty word. I'd like to share with you a little bit more about some of the strong things that happen in our world today. I want to share with you some of doTERRA's positions. We're all raised differently, aren't we? We're all different in our educational backgrounds. We're all different in our value systems, perhaps. We're different in our cultures. We're different in our beliefs. My own family, even in my marriage, we differ in our views. And we have to work these things out. But collectively, though, we need your help. And we need your help in keeping doTERRA as a haven. And so just remember that people are good, that our peers in our essential oil world are good parents. They're essential oil lovers. They're engaged in humanitarian and charitable service. We never want to forget this. You need to avoid those views where people will start to dehumanize one another. Now, I want to share with you what to me is one of the most important stories, one of the most important events that typifies this that's happened in the history, I think, of the world. I think it was unprecedented before or after. And this was during World War I. It's called the Christmas Truce. In a book that was written by David Stratman, he shared a little bit about this story, and I want to share it with you. It was December 25th, Christmas, 1914, only 5 months into World War I. German, British, and French soldiers, already sick and tired of the senseless killing, disobeyed their superiors, fraternized with the enemy along 2/3 of the entire Western Front, a crime that was punishable by death in times of war. Well, German troops held Christmas trees up out of the trenches, reading things like Merry Christmas and You No Shoot, We No Shoot. Thousands of troops streamed across no man's land, strewn with rotting corpses at the time. They sang Christmas carols. They exchanged photographs of loved ones back home. They shared rations. They played football. They even roasted some pigs. Soldiers embraced men that they had been trying to kill just a few short hours before. They agreed to warn each other if the top brass forced them to fire their weapons, and said that they would aim high. Well, a shudder ran through the high command on both sides. Here was a disaster in the making. Soldiers declaring their brotherhood with each other and refusing to fight. Generals on both sides declared this spontaneous peacemaking to be treasonous and a subject to be and people were subject to be court-martialed. By March 1915, the fraternization movement had been eradicated and the killing machine was put back into full operation. It took them 2 months to get that done. They had to literally remove the men on both sides, send them elsewhere, bring other soldiers back in to get the war going again. By the time the armistice was signed in 1918, 15 million more would be slaughtered. Not many people have heard about the story of the Christmas truce. Christmas truce story goes against most of what we have been taught about people today. It gives us a glimpse of the world as we wish it could be and says, this really happened once. It reminds us of those thoughts that we keep hidden away, out of range of the TV, the newspaper, computers, phones, and stories that tell us how trivial and mean human life is. It's like hearing that our deepest wishes really are true and that the world could be different. How many of you have felt that way? Evil can only be defeated by kindness. Now, you can be disgusted with a group of people, and then you meet a particular person and you genuinely discover that they are great, that they're lovely. And then gradually, those chips start to fall away, and they change our thinking. Now, just a couple of final thoughts here. The number one way to combat dehumanization is also frustratingly challenging. It's one of the hardest things to accomplish. We simply need to get to know people who are different from us. Just as we have the mental capacity to dehumanize, we're also equipped with the mental facilities to forge trust and understanding. It's up to us to change this. We have some cleanup to do. We have some cleanup to do within doTERRA. We have some cleanup to hopefully do with the massive numbers we have around the world, and maybe we can help. Number one, never make posts in your online communities that can be interpreted by others as divisive, intolerant, or mean-spirited. Be a speaker of peace. Second challenge, this is the biggie, and that is that you make friends with at least 3 people who you profoundly disagree with. Remember something as you do this. Empathy is not endorsement. Empathizing with someone that you profoundly disagree with does not suddenly compromise your own deeply held beliefs and endorse theirs. But it will be an amazing experience for you. Now, third challenge, make doTERRA a haven of peace, trust, and hope. We're an essential oil company, aren't we? Well, we are, but every bit as much of that, we also are a community, and we are a haven of peace, trust, and hope. So in conclusion, doTERRA has been an amazing education for me, as I know it has been for many of you. Many views have softened or changed. I know many of my views have softened or changed. We need to set out and realize that there are different views. We need to realize that we have a lot more in common with people than we have indifference. Now, doTERRA has a unique product. We love the product. We love the essential oils. They're powerful. There are amazing things coming. in this next year. But let's not forget maybe our most important product, and that is the community that we bring with doTERRA, the community that we build, the belonging that we bring in others, the hope that we restore, the purpose that we help provide in other people's lives.